Do you ever worry about sounding awkward or confused in an English conversation? Watch this lesson if you want to know the worst English idioms that you should never use in your daily conversations. I have to tell you a secret. Sometimes English teachers and English textbooks will teach you outdated phrases or interesting phrases, but ones that native speakers never use, so you don't want to be trying to use them in an English conversation. In this lesson, I'll not only tell you the idioms that you should get out of your vocabulary, but I'll tell you the ones that you should use to replace them that will sound super natural in your conversations. Let's get started with this lesson. It was a whale of a time. So I don't know who decided that this was an English phrase that should be taught to English learners, but I have never heard any of my friends say that something was a whale of a time. If you want to talk about things that are fun or having fun times doing an activity, here are some phrases that you can use instead. You can say, I'm having a blast, I'm having a ball, or if it's really fun, just say, I'm having the time of my life today. Definitely don't use a whale of a time. I think it's an interesting idiom and maybe outdated, but in the United States, we do not use this idiom to describe something that's fun. Let's chew the fat. If you are thinking about saying, let's chew the fat, definitely do not use this phrase to talk about gossiping. Americans will simply just say, they were gossiping or they were spilling the tea, which means kind of telling the secrets or the gossip, or even spilling the beans. Sometimes if the conversation is really casual and you're kind of gossiping or talking about other people, you can say we were just chit-chatting, but never say we were chewing the fat. I've seen this on a lot of lists that are meant to teach English learners phrases that natives use, but I don't use this phrase and I don't know anyone who uses this phrase. It will sound very awkward if you say, let's chew the fat. It was easy peasy. It was a piece of cake. This is the phrase that all of my students love to comment on my lessons. They say, oh, that's easy peasy. I think this is a fun phrase because it rhymes, but it does sound very foreign to English speakers when you say, oh, easy peasy, or even a piece of cake. We often just say that something is simple or that's nothing. So instead of saying easy peasy or a piece of cake, to sound more natural, you should try to say that's easy, that's nothing, or that's simple. Don't go out of your way to say easy peasy. It's really outdated and maybe just a phrase that young children use here in the United States. I'm blue. I think that English learners love to see themed lists of idioms, like idioms that involve colors. And one idiom that's always on this list for English learners is to feel blue. I think of this idiom as maybe something a child would say again, or something that was used frequently a long time ago, but none of my friends ever just come up to me and say, I feel really blue today. This just sounds very awkward and it's not used in conversation. So instead of saying, I feel blue, to say that you feel sad, you can say, I feel down, I feel depressed. If you feel really sad, you can simply just say, I feel sad. Or again, if you're extremely sad, you can say, I'm just devastated. Do not say, I feel blue. It's just awkward in conversation and it's not a common idiom that we actually use. Let's paint the town red. I actually had to look up this idiom because I've been asked about it so many times by English learners, so there must be some textbook or some sort of curriculum that teaches this idiom because I don't even understand it. It's to paint the town red. Do not use this idiom. English speakers do not use this. They might not even know what you're talking about, especially here in the United States, speaking from my experience. Apparently, if you say we're going to paint the town red, it means you're going to have a fun time, you're going to have a loud and obnoxious time. I would say a good phrase to replace this one with is to say, let's just live it up tonight. This just means let's live life to the fullest And let's not worry about what other people think of our fun times, but do not say, let's paint the town red. He's a barrel of laughs. When I saw that English textbooks and English websites teach this phrase to English learners that want to live in the United States, I was appalled because I have never used this phrase. I have never heard it in conversation. And the phrase, it sounds so ridiculous to me. It's a barrel of laughs. Apparently, if you want to describe something as funny, you could use this phrase, but I've never heard it. So if you want to say that someone is funny, just say, oh my goodness, you are a comedian. This is a phrase that just means like you're so funny, you could do it as your profession. Or you could also say like, you crack me up. To crack someone up means to make them laugh a lot. Or just saying you're hilarious is much better than saying someone was a barrel of laughs. Another phrase that I would not use here is to say someone is a hoot. This is something that a really old person would say, and I've never heard someone under the age of 60 use this phrase. So if you're older, go ahead and say it's a hoot, but if you're trying to speak naturally to younger people, don't describe something as a barrel of laughs or a hoot. I was tickled pink. If you want to say that you are thrilled about something, you can say I'm really pleased or I'm really thrilled. I would think it's so awkward if someone was like, I am tickled pink. It's just one of those idioms that is interesting to learn about, but in actual daily conversation, it's not used. And you might read it in an old book when someone says they were tickled pink, but it's just not used in modern day English conversations. It's raining cats and dogs outside. This last phrase is the most common idiom that's taught and of course is never actually used in English conversation. To say that it is raining cats and dogs. This is of course an interesting idiom, and it always helps English teachers teach the concept of what is an idiom. It's a phrase that you can't understand the meaning of without being taught, because literally it is not raining cats and dogs, but it's raining a lot. So I actually say as a native English speaker, yeah, it's pouring outside. That's the most common way that I say it's raining very hard, or it's really coming down out there. It means the rain is really coming down, or even you can use that phrase with snow, it's really coming down. But I've never actually said it's raining cats and dogs, but I've heard it taught so many times. Take it out of your vocabulary. You don't actually need to use this phrase in your conversations. What other awkward idioms did I miss on my list today? Let me know in the comments, and make sure to try to replace your awkward idioms that were in this lesson with some of these more natural, simpler phrases. It doesn't always have to be complicated when you're speaking English. Thank you guys so much for watching this lesson. Make sure to subscribe and like the video for more lessons like this, and I'll see you guys in my next English lesson. Goodbye!